everyone. Good to be together again. We're here at the George Hale Library with Miss Carol. She's doing all the filming.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, and this is Miss Peggy. I'm here to read a story to you. And this is a very funny story about a whale. And then we're going to make a whale with spouts when we get all done, okay? I'll show you how to do it. Oh, but first, we got to sing our song. All right, you ready? If you want to hear a story, clap your hands. If you want to hear a story, clap your hands. If you want to hear a story, if you want to hear a story, if you want to hear a story, clap your hands. Bump, bump. All right, let's go. Now, this is Down to the Sea with Mr. Mcgee. And it is written by Chris Van Dusen. And he also made the pictures. And he writes a lot of books, and he happens to be from Maine, which is a few states up north from us. So he's kind of local, and he always writes about the ocean. And this one is about whales. Down to the Sea with Mr. Mcgee. There we go. There's Mr. Mcgee, and there's his friend. Mr. Mcgee and his little dog Dee love spending time in their boat on the sea. So early one morning at 6:32, they made a decision that's just what they'd do. They decided to go out in their boat. Right after breakfast, Magee packed a lunch, sandwiches, carrots, and a thermos of punch, and a big box of raisins and sweet pickled beets, chocolate chip cookies, and crunchy dog treats. With plans for the day and enough lunch for 3, they hopped in the car and drove down to the sea. Look at that. The pair left the dock at 7 o'clock and motored their way around Eagle Egg Rock. They passed by the lighthouse and by the old wreck, with Magee at the wheel and Dee on the deck. There they go. Well, they suddenly spied off the bow to the east a big pod of whales. There were 50 at least, splashing about in the bright morning sun, feasting on shrimp and sardines by the ton. But one little whale had eaten his fill, munching on minions and plankton and krill. He was bored with his breakfast, and since he was through, he swam off in search of something exciting to do. There he goes. Now Dee and Magee in their boat on the bay didn't notice the whale that was heading their way. They were watching the other whales put on the show, but soon that young whale was definitely directly below. Look at this. You can see his tail. And his fins, he's right under their boat. Oh, my goodness. From under the sea, the little whale spied Magee and Dee's boat, but he didn't see them inside. He longed for some adventure. He wanted to play, so he bumped at the boat in a very friendly way. Then the whale placed his blowhole directly below, and ever so gently, he started to blow. He's blowing water up in the air. And Magee saw the bubbles. He felt the boat sway. Then up went the boat in a fountain of spray. Higher and higher and higher the little boat flew, as harder and harder that little whale blew. Then the whale blew a blast as hard as he could, much harder than any little whale should. And that final blast blew the boat up in the sky, first 30, then 40, then 50 feet high. Oh my goodness. The boat kept on rising, but it didn't stop there. The wind hit it hard, and it flew through the air, and Dee and Magee sailed over the sea. Look, when all of a sudden, they were stuck in a tree. Imagine that. So there they were, stranded, McGee and his pup, in the top of a spruce tree, 60-something feet up. Look at that, they're on a little island on this great big tree, stuck. Uh-oh. From their perch in the sky, the two watched in dismay as a whale far below swam swiftly away. McGee was downhearted. Just what could he do? They seemed hopelessly stuck. But little D, he knew the secret to get the boat safely unpinned was to rock back and forth and wait for the wind. So they rocked and they rocked and they rocked for an hour or so, but the boat didn't budge because the wind didn't blow. And just when they thought they'd be stuck there all night, they spotted off, far off, a spectacular sight. Away in the distance, across the blue bay, the whales, all 50, were heading their way. Oh, look at them come. They swam through the water in one long straight row and gathered around the small island below. Look at that. And there they are on the top of their tree. McGee looked down at the circle of whales surrounding that island and raising their tails. He felt a bit nervous and a little bit tense when all of a sudden it made perfect sense. They're trying to save us, he shouted with glee. Hold on, little doggy D, hold on tight as can be. Well, their tails slapped down with a thunderous crash, which in turn created a super duper high splash that covered the island and raced up the tree and dislodged that boat and set them both free. Oh, Dee was so happy she let out a yelp, and McGee tipped his hat to the whales for their help. Thank you, my friends, for saving the day. And they all waved goodbye, and the whales swam away. On the way home, little Dee had a thought. What about all of that food that we brought? In all the excitement, they ate not one bite. So they saved it and had it for dinner that night. And there they are in their cozy little kitchen again, having all that delicious sandwiches and raisins and pickled beets and everything else. And there's the moon, and they're safe and sound. Wasn't that a good story? That is a good one. And it's all in a rhyme. Did you notice the words sounded the same at the end of each sentence? Kind of fun that way. We're going to try to make a picture of our own whale. I'll show you how we do it. And yours can always look different, remember? But I just made a shape of a whale with a tail. And that's a good way to start. And yours can be bigger or littler or different colored, of course. And we'll cut it out. It's nice to have a big tail because those whales had a tail to slap on the water, right? Make a big wave to get the boat out of the tree. Can you imagine? A boat in a tree. That's something. Okay, here's the tail. There we go. Now we got a little whale shape. And we can give it, I'm going to give it an eye because we'll only see one side. So we'll have one eye and a smile. You can do other things with your whale. You can put some baleen in there or some flippers and color up his tail a bit if you'd want. And now I'm going to show you how to make the spout. We'll just pretend like this is the water coming out. And just take a piece of paper, like a small square or rectangle, and cut from the bottom up. But don't cut all the way through. You might need a little help with the cutting here, cutting out your whale and everything else. I'm going to cut a whole bunch of little lines here, stopping right at the top, at the bottom there, so we don't cut all the way through. There, these will be our spirals. One more. Now this is kind of fun to make it a little bit curly. You can take a pencil and roll it around. Put it on the table so I can roll it all up so the spirals are not just straight sticking up. There we go. Now all around, and then you take it out and open it up. And there we've got curly whirly ones. And now the other part is we want to put it in kind of a little circle. I put my finger in there, made a little circle, and we got to have a piece of tape to hold that together. Okay, now we've got our spiral, all of our water spouts from that whale, and we can tape that to the back. And now we need a little glue. Here we go. Put that on the back of our picture here of our whale. And glue it to the paper. There we go. Let me see that tape a little bit here. There we go. Okay, now we've got our little spiral. You can play around with these a little bit. And it's kind of fun. I put some pictures on here, but you can do whatever you want. You could make some pictures of kids or a lighthouse. I put a little boat and a tree because I was thinking of Mr. Mcgee. And some waves. You can have fun with all that any way you want it to be. And oh, you can put a sunshine up on the top there for a sunny day. You use your imagination to make whatever you want. You can maybe even make up your own story about your whale. That could be fun too, huh? Okay, so that's our craft for today. And I hope you have fun with it. Maybe you can tell somebody a story with your picture and make them laugh. And that'll make everybody happy. That could be your special good thing to do for the day. Anyway, I hope we see you next time. Have a wonderful day.